Right, so in this topic, we're going to be going through some of the exercises that we've provided you with in Workbook 5. These all pertain to the subject matter in the last 4 topics. So let's have a look-see at what you're going to be working with. In exercise 1, you're required to become the observer and notice your urge created by your thoughts towards instant gratification and constant pleasure seeking. For example, you may wish to do some retail therapy so you can feel happier. Can you identify any base fear driving you towards this instant gratification? Or maybe there's pain behind this urge? This is not about becoming stoic and not enjoying the pleasures in life, but it is about becoming aware that continued pleasure seeking and instant gratification do not necessarily lead to a healthier long-term state of well-being. Now, remind yourself of the 3 reasons why we get it wrong when it comes to thinking we will be happier when we have that awesome stuff. These being, firstly, we mostly overestimate how happy we will be when we buy the awesome stuff. Secondly, we get used to the awesome stuff. And thirdly, we do not realize we get used to the awesome stuff we buy. Now in exercise 2, you are challenged to remind yourself that nothing is as bad as it seems. Remember, we forget that we have managed to get through challenging times in the past and still fear the worst case scenario in the future because of immune neglect, this tendency to forget that we adapt and have adapted previously to challenging situations. You will recall we also suffer from a cognitive bias called focalism, which is the tendency to think about one worst case event that can happen in the future, and we forget that there may be many other things that can happen which will mitigate this worst case scenario. So over the next 10 days, you're required to observe your tendency to worry about a possible future event excessively and remind yourself that you may be getting it wrong because of immune neglect and focalism. Remind yourself of the following. You have managed to get through difficult times in the past, so you will most likely get through the difficult times in the future. And secondly, there are many other scenarios you're not bringing into account which can mitigate the scenario you're worrying about. And as you do this, remind yourself that nothing is ever as bad as it seems. Now in exercise 3, you are challenged to become aware of your comparisons you make. Firstly, become consciously aware of your external reference points that you compare yourself to on TV, social media, and people around you. Ask yourself if they are accurate and relevant to you and your personal journey. Remember, these reference points are usually an illusion or reality created through our ladder of inference because we are only selecting some of the data we are using as an external reference. We do not have all the information. Now also become mindful of the comparisons inner voice. This was included in the stories we tell ourselves exercise in Workbook 3, Exercise 3. Notice the stories it is telling you as you compare yourself to these reference points. Remember to weaken the attachment to this inner voice by questioning it. Are the stories true? Remember, we do not have all the information around these reference points. Do I know 100% they are true? Are there any assumptions I have built into my story? You can, of course, perform breathing meditation exercises to assist you in letting go of this inner voice. Remember, this is all about emotional agility, especially when we notice these comparisons and how they're affecting our emotions. Now, in the next module, we'll be exploring some conscious living practices. This includes ways to thwart that adaptation tendency. We'll also look at resetting reference points, as well as so much more. Now, as we finish off this topic, I leave you with a wonderful quote by Anne Voskamp. Comparison is a thug that robs your joy, but it's even more than that. Comparison makes you a thug who beats down somebody, or your soul. So I will see you in the next module, and until then, take care and stay aware.